best with pictures. You're frantic all by yourself. Nighttime is where the things get heavy. You feel lonely, you want somebody. Loneliness whispers desperate pleasure. Baby, don't make no fast moves. Baby, don't make no fast moves. Baby, don't make no fast moves. Baby, don't make no fast moves tonight. La da da.
A phenomenal chord was struck as Randal Thurston sat looking at old photographs from World War II. The emotions evoked from these photos reminded him of his father, who had recently passed away. Using these images in his work as a way of taking his personal grief and exploring it on a different scale, Thurston began to create art that was more responsive to him. He also started to understand that for any piece of artwork to be profound, it had to function in a series of levels. As a result, his work began to have focal themes. He would also use a series of images outside the focal theme that was more difficult to relate to on a larger scale. Art pieces developed through this concept marked an important part of his life because these images represented the stepping stones to his contemporary work. Thurston eventually began to question his reasons for using certain photographs in his work. In his earlier work, the World War II photos he used in his art was a way for him to deal with his father's death. The photos he used afterwards, he felt, did not have a valid reason to be used. On the intellectual level, Thurston believed, as an artist, it was dishonest to engage a subject matter, especially one that had a history to the people who experienced it, just because it gave easy access for viewers. Artists must be ruthless with themselves about the reasons why they do what they do. No longer using certain images just because it represented some universal truth, Randal Thurston began to develop his art in a different way. Ideas sparked again when he saw silhouettes in a magazine. To him, they were artwork that involved great craft and accuracy, and he wanted to explore it further. He saw in silhouettes the possibility of extending them to different realms. This began his 25 years of work. He once learned in a book that in some Eastern cultures, butterflies represented their departed souls. From this concept, he created an art piece that had a strong symbolic presence for him. In a room, he sat down and tried to remember every person he had ever met. The result was a list of 13,000 names. However, instead of representing the departed souls, the butterflies represented everyone he has ever met. In a way, this piece was his personal history, a self-portrait. While on a bus, Randal Thurston saw a woman who was wearing a charm bracelet. It was so intricate and detailed that he felt he knew everything about her just by looking at her charm bracelet. He later used the bracelet as a vehicle to create art that represented symbols and identity. In other words, another form of a self-portrait.
What's cooking in Mill City?
What's cooking in Mill City?
This particular show is called The Big Student Show, all caps, B-I-G, and that's just a collection of work from all the studios, the art and design studios in the BFA program. So students are submitting anything from photos to painting to graphic design.
I wanted to work on wood just because paper's so fragile, and you know what I mean, like how do you get, I don't know, cool, yeah, wood's cool, you get texture, you know what I mean, just like the smell of it, and it's just a cool material, can't break it.
This is a piece that actually won Best of Show. This is Tim Gogan. What he's done is he has created a drawing and scanned it into the computer. Then he printed it out on transfer paper and then transferred it onto the wood, added some more color, some more lines to it, and then he put a coat of urethane on it. And he did a good job with that.
So I started to take those images and put them into the computer, and like Photoshop, and manipulate them and see what I could do from there. And then I would blow them up because I could draw these things like in my sketchbook wherever I was. I could work on it if I'm on a bus or I'm here. So I was always drawing in my sketchbook, but now I can take it out, put it into a computer, blow it up like this big, and then I would take that and like transfer it to wood, and then work into it with like ink and like I did some painting with like wood stain. Then I usually like re-ink it and stuff like that, and then I ended up filling like, you know, about like 75% of the space on the wood, and me like instinctually I just want to fill everything up as much as I can. So then I went in and I literally like, okay, now I have this form and I have this space, and now how does that, now I went back in and I redrew and filled like space and added like new characters and just kind of like the style that I'd done, but in like a different way.
Over here in the corner is an installation that was created in sculpture, and it's called Prescription Drug Addiction in America. And what the student has done is he's taken blank prescription forms and filled them out and just created this grid along the wall. And then he has all these pills just laying out on a table that are all painted red, white, and blue, which is interesting.